Hey, what's up, guys? You got Crave here, and we're going to be talking about 5 things about the pre-patch that you might have missed, or things that you might want to take note of in case you haven't noticed. So let's start with the first one. So the first one is about the Broken Shore drama and the story or the plot lines that are involved there. And you see a lot of going back and forth about different opinions on how the Alliance or the Horde performed in both scenarios. So personally, I'm not too invested in one faction that I would put down or diss the other faction. I've played both factions before and I enjoy both plot lines. But I guess on a personal level, I do like the plot line for the Alliance, as I do feel that the loss of their king was a bit more dramatic in terms of feel. Not that Vol'jin wasn't important, but in terms of longevity and the amount of storyline that has been put into his character, there was a lot there. And but yeah, one of the things that I've noticed in forums or in different websites is that many people are saying that the especially the Alliance, they felt that the Horde was being cowardly, especially if they were only playing one faction, which is their own Alliance. And to that, I can say that yeah, the Horde really wasn't that cowardly. They didn't really run away from a fight. Now, the first thing you have to note about that is that from the point of view of the Alliance, it was quite limited. They were pretty much down below, whereas the Horde had a better vantage point of the stuff that was going on. And in terms of what the other Horde heroes did, Thrall and Bane, they seemed like they were pretty useless in the fight, but when you think about it, they were blasted by Legion destroyers. Now, I know Thrall is the world shaman, but yeah, being blasted by 3 Legion destroyers is not something that's easy to take. Now, in addition to what the Legion destroyers and the hordes and hordes of demons that they had to face, the Horde also had to face bombardment from Legion's flying units, so that was a lot for them to take on. And I guess the last thing that might be important to note there is that before Vol'jin passed out, he told Sylvanas to, well, indirectly, to make sure that the Horde would leave, because he said something of the in essence, he said something like the Horde should live on. So I think it's very important that Alliance players also know that. Better yet, you know, play both scenarios. I did that, so you'll get a better view of what really happened. And for the second thing, and while we're speaking of plots, is that if you notice in the Broken Shore, and lately I would say in the last 2 or 3 expansions, but mostly especially in the last 2 expansions, many heroes and champions are dying or just getting put aside. Now, if the first and most important part, I was kind of surprised by it, but well, not so much, mainly because of the way artifact weapons are being put out, but the first one was Fordring, and he was a very important lore character in the game, and he dies to a pretty big demon, which is why I actually feel that maybe Wrath of right now, it makes me think that maybe Wrath of the Lich King was put out too early in terms of an expansion, but anyway, that's done. But yeah, you see Fordring dying, and Thrall being the world shaman. You know, the way if you weren't aware of what really happened during that event, him being blasted by 3 destroyers, it makes you feel like he's not that powerful. And Vol'jin being taken down by a simple Felguard. I mean, with no regards to what might have been happening, you know, for a Horde player, you might not be thinking of what was actually happening in the battlefield. Varian seemed like a very strong character for me. Personally, I liked the Alliance leader that he was, but yeah, he was taken down in a very dramatic and a very strong fashion. And at least, you know, if you think about it, he was taken down by Gul'dan, being the very, very powerful warlock that he is. And to sum it all up, you know, whatever frustrations we feel if we're so immersed or invested in the whole World of Warcraft lore, let's just keep in mind that Blizzard is now moving forward with the story. Now, however much we all argue or immerse ourselves or disapprove of a faction, or however the story is going, we have to keep in mind it's always up to Blizzard. If you want to get angry with someone, it has to be Blizzard. Or if you want to approve of the way we're moving forward with the story, it has to be Blizzard. Now, keep in mind that a lot of the old background lore will change, especially with the recent release of the so far I haven't really read it, but I've seen the synopsis and read on some details on it in forums. But the recent release of Warcraft Chronicles will definitely affect the whole story of World of Warcraft. And number 3 is about demon hunters. Of course, we see a whole lot of them right now. And if you're hearing my son, he's in the next room, but he's talking awfully loud. But so I apologize for that. But anyway, about demon hunters, yeah. Although they're fancy Illidan wannabes. You have to admit that even if you get tired of seeing them running around the whole of Azeroth, they're pretty fun. As you know, mobility is a key factor in Demon Hunter playstyle, including being able to do AoE damage, not just moving in and out of certain situations. Now, for Havoc and Vengeance, the two talent specs, while they can be fun, as I mentioned, they can feel very lacking in their current form. Now, it won't be viable to use a Demon Hunter for either role until all their talents or any other Legion abilities are unlocked. And yeah, I mean, of course, you can still use it for content, current content. But if you find yourself having a difficult time or keeping up with the meters, and I think that you should pretty much understand why. It's just really lacking right now. You don't even have your full talents. And I'm sure a lot of tweaking will be done by Blizzard for their new class or their new baby. And also, before I finish the number 3 thing, if you find the glide ability to be fun, which it is, try using this macro to quickly dismount, glide, drop, and glide again. It really makes it easier for you to get to locations that are on the ground, or basically it makes you ready to tag a mob that might be low on health. The fourth thing about the demon invasions is that right now, in its current form, they're currently on a 4-hour rotation, so it's basically possible to have your alts basically go through the invasions in that window, but the frequency of the invasions will increase as we draw closer to launch. So you may not want to stress yourself too much about making sure if you have, I don't know, 50 or 20 alts going through that 4-hour window. You may want to keep that in mind, that the frequency of the invasions will increase as we draw closer to the launch date. And while doing the invasions, I noticed some people just hanging around the main invasion area. So make sure you engage all the commanders, the little skulls that you see on your map, to get the additional nether shards. And yeah, it really isn't necessary to deal a significant damage to the commander that you're trying to down. You simply have to tag a guy. So if you're a healer, that also means that healing the player engaging the mob or commander will do it for you. But still, don't be lazy and help out. I mean, it's best to really help out whenever you can, as things will go by quicker. And the fifth thing I want to mention is about nether shard farming. Now, I've noticed this, that if you lag out due to poor connection or any server-side issues, it will normally reset to stage 1 once you get back in the game. Now, you don't get another chest in case you finish that stage where you get that small chest or that Legion chest from my experience, but you do get to keep the shards. So in line with that, and unless it's hotfixed or patched pretty soon or anytime soon, you can employ the same method if you log out properly. So what you can do is just to get more shards, if you're just really focused on the nether shards, just make sure to leave before the final stage completes and rejoin the next invasion. Now, this allows you again to collect just shards again and again and again without having to wait for the next invasion. Now, just make sure that the commanders you tag are dead before you log out. Now, one thing though about this method is that it might be a good idea for 1 or 2 characters. It might not be ideal if you have so many alts. It might get old pretty fast, but that's just me. And that's it for this short video on the 5 things that you have to keep in mind about the Legion pre-patch and the activities that go with it. So let me know in the comment section below what you think is an important input or comment about the pre-patch, and maybe some tips for other guys who might not be aware of some tricks that you can do during this time. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, guys, and I'll talk to you soon.